Hi, it's Hobbies Fishing. Welcome back. And today we're doing another speaker series with Kyle from Witchdoctor Tackle. And today our special guest is Jon Jon from Jon Jon's Outdoor. John,
Hey guys, great to see you. Great to be a part of it.
Jon Jon makes custom swim baits, glide
hmm
baits. I know how much all of you love when I talk about glide baits and have a million questions. So who better to bring in than an expert themselves and just not just me who just buys a bunch of swim baits. But also before we kind of get into this conversation, Jon Jon, where can people find you? If you want to plug yourself, now is the time.
Oh, yeah, sure. John John's Outdoors .bigcartel.com. And you can also find me on swimbaits.com. I partnered with them last year as a consultant, and they helped me launch the Blue Collar Gill. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. And of course, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and all those under John John's Outdoors with the orange and green bass. You'll see the logo. So it's actually behind me. There we go. There's the logo. You can see it under all the baits.
And
So,
also,
yeah.
I've been kind of harping about this the last few weeks. I'm going to be at the New England Fishing Expo, and Jon Jon's going to be there too, so you can see
Yeah,
both of us in person. End of this month, so January 30th, 31st, and February 1st, I believe, the last weekend of this month. So if you're in the
yes.
New England
Mhm.
area, come hang out. If you want to book a flight from wherever you are to come see us, even more appreciated.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kyle. If you don't know Kyle by now, I don't know where you've been. Kyle runs Witchdoctor Tackle, who's been making some amazing rods that I've been fishing with all of last year and will be fishing with, but also has made me some really cool rods.
That's
That's
awesome.
the best.
Great to have you, Kyle. Great to be a part of this. Thank you
Excited,
for asking me, guys.
yeah, excited to see. It's gonna be a fun conversation. We're gonna talk swim baits. We're gonna talk a little bit about creation, development, all the fun stuff.
But yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna have a really, I don't know if Kyle told you, Alex, but we're doing one of the shows together in East Tennessee Fishing
yeah,
Expo, and then we're gonna do the classic together. So we're kind of building a great friendship, and
awesome.
we're doing something on the swim bait side together, which I'm really excited about. That's the first time I've ever done something like this, so
Oh,
I'm really
cool.
excited about that.
Um, I mean, now's the time. We need a Witch Doctor swimbait rod.
We do.
We
I've
need
already
a
said
full
that.
Witch Doctor
Hey,
swimbait rod.
slow
That's
I'll
down,
even
next.
calm
sign it.
down. Silence,
Yeah, exactly.
silence,
We need the
silence.
swimbait rod soon. But yeah, I guess we'll kind of kick this off. Jon Jon, in terms of like hard plastic swim baits and glide baits, kind of which side do you gravitate more towards? Are you a swim bait guy? Are you a hard plastic swim bait guy? Sorry, glide bait guy or a swim
Okay,
bait?
yeah, that's right. I was
Yeah,
like hard
exactly.
plastic. Yeah, well, ABS or resin. I'm
Yeah.
always going to go with resin there. But I do, yeah, I'm a big swim bait guy. I wouldn't say it's tough when you're in this community to say I'm an expert because I'm not. I mean, I feel like every time I go out and fish, I'm always learning, right? I'm always new. Every time I go into a new pond, new lake, whatever. But I tend to go towards actually resin almost always. And then I also, the other thing, I don't hardly ever use traditional tackle anymore, so I do BFS. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny because my thing is putting something in front of the fish they haven't seen before. And I think there's a lot of people that really miss that BFS size. And I've caught some giants that way. So yeah, I'm definitely a big bait resin guy. And I love big crawlers. That's kind of where I got my start was I got one here laying from my whatnot show, but the Big D,
Nice.
which is my this is my chipmunk, my number one seller, and I'm actually dropping for after testing and selling some of the stuff. It's the new chipmunk that's Chip and Dale, and there's a buzzing monk, and then there's a wake, and then also a crawler that look like real chipmunks,
Oh,
and
nice.
so that's kind of built from starting there with crawlers. So.
I guess we can always hop back to the swim bait thing, but while we're talking about crawlers, I have a question actually. Is
Uh-huh.
I've caught a lot of fish on a crawler this year, so especially the smaller Pompadour Juniors.
Pompadours.
That
Uh-huh.
has been the top performing, and I have some weird. I found it on Whatnot, but some special edition one for Japanese. Um, what's it called? Like Japanese like catfish that has only
Sure.
It has like the two hooked trebles, so it doesn't have a front facing treble, so it can be fished anyways. But I've caught most of my topwater fish have been on a crawler bait, and it works so well. But I kind of ask myself, why are bass so drawn to a crawler style bait?
Sure. Yeah, I think it honestly, it can be a couple things. One, how they look. Like it, a lot of people don't realize how often bass will eat like one of my I dropped last year, a duckling. Like a baby duckling. Bass eat stuff like this. Anything they can fit in their mouth. That's my duckling there.
Oh, that's
Anything they
awesome.
can fit in their mouth. And we need to get you a little D if you're using pompadour because
Oh yeah, that looks great.
such a, oh my goodness, my wings are guaranteed for life on all my crawlers.
Oh wow.
Those companies sell extra wings because they know they're going to bend, break, and snap. And so I have a patented wing called the blade wing, and mine do not ever go out of tune. They
Awesome.
do not ever break. If they do, I replace them for free. And actually, if you guys obviously know, you're a swim bait person, Piz, who is, Paul's like the kind of one of the top guys in the industry. He's actually using my wings on his newest crawler coming out here in 2026. So
Oh
I'm
wow.
really like, it's one of those things you're like, wow, I've really done something when someone like that uses your stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's a big meal, and they literally will put anything they can fit in their mouth, they will eat normally. Two, I think it's depending the noise. So I think a lot of particularly topwater bass, they're ticked off. Like that something's in their space, they don't want it there, and they'll hit it. And I'll find with crawlers in particular, they will hit it so hard. I've literally snapped a rod on a bigger bass one time because they hit it so hard. And I think the goal is I'm going to kill it the first strike, and then I'm going to come back and eat it.
Yeah.
And so that first strike is let me knock it unconscious or knock it silly, and then I'll come back and see if I can eat it. And so that first strike is just devastating sometimes. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like, and that to me is why crawlers are the deal. And I started with crawlers. It is tough to make it on crawlers alone because so few people understand, like you're saying, Alex, most people who use real good crawlers catch bass like crazy on them. I mean, they are like crap for a bass. And so I love that I'll send you one on the house, one of each here soon, and you'll see. But I'm telling you, there's nothing funner than a crawler
Yeah,
bite.
I'm very surprised at how, I guess I don't know if it's just here in the US, we're just not a crawler country. We're a popper and buzz like a I've never caught a bass on a buzzbait. I've caught maybe
Oh,
two bass
really?
on a buzzbait. I'll tell you that right now. Everyone wants me to talk about a buzzbait. I don't own I own two
Yeah,
buzzbaits. And that's because God knows when I got them. But
right.
I've caught so many fish on a crawler, and I think this might be, it's a good time. Like, everyone's looking for the next thing that the bass haven't seen. A crawler is really one of the things. I feel like
Absolutely.
it's been very much almost like a guarded secret in Asia. Like I've got a Deca Dodge here, like a Deca.
Uh-huh.
Like the Deca was kind of the one of the first, and
Yeah,
Debs had the NZ crawler. But those were even in when I was in Korea, was like, oh, the crawlers, those are cool baits. But I feel
yeah.
like it was like a guarded secret for a while. So I think, and also I guess here we had the jitterbug is probably the closest thing we're gonna see from here. And then the jitterbug has gone out of style. I'm sure the
Yeah.
jitterbug's gonna come back.
Yeah, they've made them kind of real. I bought one recently because it was one of my dad's favorite baits, and they are so light and flim. It just isn't
Yeah.
the real jitterbug anymore. But I will say, and this is kind of a little bit of backstory, if that's okay to share. My dad's favorite bait was the Head and Tiny Crazy Crawler in red and white. And I wish I knew where it is. Can I grab it real quick? Is
Go
that
for
okay
it.
with the
Yeah, go
video?
for it.
Okay, 1 second. I'll grab it.
I think it's like when you bring up that point though, like when we think on the US, where do most people out here get their knowledge from the fishing space? They get
Yeah.
it from like watching the pro anglers. And that was kind of the case back in the day. It was the pro anglers taught everyone else how to fish. And now like
Yeah.
that YouTube and all these other channels have come around and Instagram,
Because
people are now learning.
fishing for fun in a pond, you know,
Is
is
way
so
different.
different for fishing for money. Like when we talk with Cole, it's so different, right? The way
Correct, but
that,
that's how people learned it
yeah,
initially, and that's why like the crawlers maybe from a marketing standpoint weren't it wasn't the same level of marketing. It wasn't the
yeah.
same level of awareness.
All right, we got it.
Absolutely. So this is my dad's original. My dad since passed about 8 years ago, but this is his original
Oh, wow.
Head Tiny Crazy Crawler. I keep it right in my shop. It took me a second because I grabbed something else. I'll show you. But it's the original. I don't use it anymore, obviously. But Head had these out in the, I guess it would probably be in the 50s and 60s. And my dad swore by it. And one
Yeah, frame
time we
that,
were,
man.
what's
Yeah,
that?
you gotta
gotta
frame
frame
it.
that.
You gotta put it up
I
in a nice
know,
frame.
right? But I keep it kind of like in my shop, kind of like inspiration. And so one time we were out with my dad up his aunt's pond and our Aunt Beulah, and he was fishing and he's like, I'm going to catch a big one. You guys watch. This is the bait. And so he threw it out there, and literally within moments, he hits a giant bass. He's, of course, that's back. He's back using one of those like nicer Zebco rods, you know,
Yeah.
reels, and it's, you know, spinning. And he's like, guys, I got a giant. I got a giant. So he reels it in. He catches his PB, which in Indiana it was 6.5 pounds, but you know that's a big bass.
Massive bass.
And my brother in there, and he literally won't change seats with us because he's afraid he'll drop the bass or one of us will fall in with and he'll lose the bass. So he's oaring with one hand all the way into the bank. And of course he got it mounted and that kind of thing. And but that'll forever seal that into my you know, that memory is so powerful. And so when I started making baits, I'm like, what, I've got to make a crawler in honor of my dad, and it's called the Big D, which stands for, we used to call him Big Dad. So Big D, we used to call him Big D all the time. And so I do them now. These are 5.5 inches and 3.5 ounces, but this is the Big D. And as I've gotten better as a maker, you know, it's got like 360 swivels in there.
Nice.
It's got, of course, my original wing, you know, the patented wings, and this is my Blackbird. And then I came up with the little D because everybody's big on the pompadour. And I'm like, I didn't like it, almost turns over sometimes, and I didn't love it. And so that's why I started making the little D. And then my company's kind of expanded from there into glides and swimmers and stuff. But yeah, that's why I love the crawler. I actually did one of Darth Maul. This is
That's
my
cool.
Darth Maul. This is the Dragon. We're
Nice.
actually upgrading it for 2026. I've got it up there working on a mold, but this is the Darth Maul. I had a Darth Vader version, but I sold it on Whatnot, so in one of my shows. But I did want to show you this while you talk top water. My favorite bait for top water is the Vote 120. This is the bigger 150. But as far as besides a crawler, the other favorite bait I use is that buzz. It's a buzz bait that floats, right?
Yeah.
And so there's something about being able to pause it, you know what I mean? And then, you know, then pop it a couple times and, you know, do that kind of thing. And I have always wanted a chipmunk version. And so finally I made one. This is called the Buzzing Monk. And it uses actually, the only thing I wanted to stick with the depth. So this is the Evoke 120 replacement blades. I bought every one I could find. I don't have that many left. I'm hoping they do some more soon. But, you know, this is unpainted, but it literally looks like Chip or Dale. I put a red nose or black nose, and you get both. And I mean, it's just, there's something about that. And a chipmunk with a brown and white owner feather treble, it literally looks like a chipmunk. And I have caught, I can't tell you how many bass on that. And actually we own a pond at my place, and the chipmunks, you know, I'll see them running down by the pond, and I've seen larger bass literally paralleling them, hoping they trip or fall. And so I catch so many in my pond on a chipmunk lure. So yeah, anyway,
that's awesome.
I know we got off topic there, but I'm a talker. So.
I love it. I love it. And then I guess kind of going back to the swim baits and glide baits. You mentioned that you prefer resin over ABS. Can you talk about
Mhm.
the differences of those? Because I
Yeah,
guess in my understanding, ABS is more what you find on your normal hard plastics that you get in any company. Like,
right. Yeah, most brands now, like Spro, and a lot of the other what I would call big box brands, have an ABS version. I've got some sitting here, the Depths um, 250s, and I've got this one in Noir. You got your Depths 250s. These are ABS, but they put a skin on them
yep.
to kind of make it feel a little more resiny, in my opinion. Um, and so most companies have those. I would say that the biggest difference is the way it fishes. With a custom tuned resin bait, you're getting at least the really good makers, and I think most makers do this, they hand test every bait. And so you're getting a custom hand tuned bait that should run flawlessly. Now, everyone has issues. I've had issues. Sometimes they don't run perfect, even after you tune them. One of the craziest things is we found this last year when doing my blue collar gill, we tested it in very warm water and in North Carolina. But as it started to get colder, I got a few calls. John, my bait's not running right. My bait's not running. I'm like, why in the world did it run amazing? And all of a sudden it isn't. And it turns out the contraction of the cold on the resin, that's why a lot of makers do new baits starting in early spring, because they've tested them in cold water in the winter.
Oh,
But
interesting.
yeah, I've never knew that until I had issues. So you can have issues, but any great maker, and I'm the same way, I back everything I do. And so, there's learning curves with it. But I just think you get it, particularly with glide baits, for instance, you're going to get a much better glide. It looks more real, in my opinion, in how it swims. And that custom tuning is worth every bit of what you pay for in resin. Whereas at depths, they're never going to test that bait, unless they, are pro staff and somebody taught them how to do it. But as a whole, they're just, they have a formula, they follow it, and then you get it. And then you have to do a lot of
Yeah.
there's whole channels, stacks of YouTube guys that's what they do, is they show you how to tune swim baits. Probably the one I watch the most is Jeffrey the King. Of course, he was with the
He's
hookup
the
tackle
king.
for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is the king.
he is. And I even, for those out there learning to do glide baits and stuff, one of the things that'll really help you is if you watch guys like Jeff, and there's a few other guys out there that do it real well, is watch how they're reeling. And that seems like the most basic thing when it comes to swim bait. But if you learn how to get the cadence right and the quick little pops and to mimic a real fish, you're going to get 10 times the bites. Like if you go out and throw a Spro chat, you're going to get some bites. No question about it. It's a great, chopping bait. It's really easy, and you can just reel it and do do a glide once in a while. But it's more of a chopping bait. But if you get into the resin and the higher end of those baits, there is a cadence. One of the things and I did this on swimbaits.com, is I actually test them and will throw in my pool, particularly if I get a new bait. You can do this in any pool as long as you have permission. And you literally can put pool noodles in the pool, and you can learn to work your bait around, because you can see it through the chlorine, the clear water, crystal clear water. And so you can learn how to work a glide in those scenarios. And that is the best tool besides watching someone and kind of learn their cadence. I used to literally sit with my reel kind of while I was watching one, just put one in my hand so I could kind of, again, just get that timing down. But the pool thing, if you want to know why you're not getting bites, throw your glide in the pool, and you'll notice if you're doing certain things, certain turns, a quick turn or a pause, can really make a massive difference. Like a bluegill, it doesn't swim the whole time. It'll swim and then pause and kind of glide, just kind of cruise,
Well,
So,
that's what like you see like especially I'm just gonna throw
oh
saltwater
yeah,
up there.
no,
Like
please jump in anytime, guys. I'm talking away.
well when you're saltwater fishing, like let's say you're slow pitch jigging. Imagine like in a slow pitch jigging situation, saltwater is you have a jig that looks kind of like a dying fish the way it flutters. And so like you're reeling it up fast and then you
Yeah,
drop it down. And that fluttering motion is actually like most of the time when the fish hit
yeah,
because it's closest to standstill and it looks like the dying fish. So those pauses, like you say, are crucial.
yeah,
The pauses, like you give the motion of a fish and then you kick in the instincts to, as we said, the kill, but like you got to give that fish a second to basically make that jump. And so
yeah,
that pause, that second to think about it, and then like you said, like you're touching on like fine tuning it. Like your reel, your rod, your bait all
yeah,
have to be fine tuned together and they all have to be matching. You have too heavy of a reel, it doesn't give the right motion. You have a fiberglass tip, it has that softness to give that little kind
yeah,
of bounce to it.
Yeah.
You have that reel that's just light enough and that you can move without really, how do I say, like grinding anything, where it's a
yeah,
smooth transition and this light twitch. And so like it's like anything, it's all connected.
Yeah.
hmm
And I
yeah,
think
absolutely. Go ahead,
back
Al.
in Korea, the thing that got me really into swim bait fishing was, of course, this is a fake, but this is a TK, Tiny Clash from
Okay, yeah, yeah,
TRT.
they're huge right now.
There was a video that I saw back when I was in Korea of a pro staff guy. He was talking about specifically was the TK, that when you're
Uh-huh.
fishing this thing, you can cut it left and right. But once you get your bait to face in one direction, so once you cut it and it goes to the right, if you give your reel a long turn, it will actually not glide back to the left. It's gonna go and make a bigger turn
Yeah,
to the right. And you can actually, he was teaching people how you can steer your glide bait around rocks by
yep,
learning, really getting in tune with how you cut that bait, learning that when it's facing one direction, if you get that long turn, it's gonna cut a little bit more to the left. You can
absolutely.
almost drive your glide bait, and the bait is the bait. It's of course so important to buy a good bait first of all that will be
hmm
able to do the things, but also, I think people ask me what my favorite glide bait is, and my answer always is um,
It's the use
this
it.
is the Double H from Korea, from Double H Korea, Double
Oh
H,
yeah, yeah. I
the
actually
Mir
just got
Junior.
one of those
This
from
is my
Tackle Shack.
favorite. This is, yeah, he's the one, he's carrying them now.
Yeah,
This is my favorite glide bait, not because it's better than a Depths, better than, a, a Bonhor or whatever. It's because I fished this bait so much that even if I
yeah,
don't see that bait, I could be fishing in mud in the
yeah,
middle of the night, but based on how I feel the weight on my rod and the weight of my line moving, I can tell what this bait is doing. It's that time that you put into one
yeah,
single bait really makes all the difference. And like practicing in a pool. Well, I didn't have a pool in Korea, but I would go to the clearest water I can find, and in the
yeah,
shallow just cast right in front of me and just work, not even try to fish, not even try to catch fish, just
yeah,
looking that bait, watching it, and then closing my eye,
yeah,
knowing, being somewhere I know I'm not going to get snagged, casting it and then closing my eyes and just
yeah,
like working it. All right, that's one, that's two movements. All right,
yeah,
let's see. It should be around that rock by now, and open my eyes and see, okay, it's close to that rock. I
yeah.
felt that distance. So I think, with these swim baits and glide baits, yes, of course, we can go down the whole rabbit hole of buying super expensive baits and
Sure.
Japanese, but, putting that time into these baits and understanding them really makes a difference, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think what you're saying, practice. I mean, that's why I did the pool thing, because a lot of times I fish ponds and they're always muddy. I mean, rarely can you ever get a clear pond, but we have a pool. And I'm like, I can really learn. And so literally I would put pool noodles there, and wherever they floated, I had to learn, I had to work my bait around it, on purpose, and practicing like that. And that's one of the things that is unsaid a lot of times, particularly for newer fishermen, is it's an art form. I mean, really, glide bait fishing is an art form, and it's like anything. What do they say? If to be great at it, you have to put in 1,000 hours or something like that to be good at something. And it's true with glide bait, and every bait performs differently. Like I love the TK. one of the things I'll do is get the high float, and then I can put weights on it and get it
Yep.
where I want it to. And then I'll do a thing where I pull the front lip off and I'll run it through the water without the front lip where it's floating, and I'm kind of popping it, smacking it around, and it looks like a dying bait fish, and they will destroy it. So yeah, and with what you're saying, Kyle, I think what it shows it, you need the right reel, you need the right rod. Witchdoctor makes some great rods. Finding that rod that works for you, it's a whole art
whole
form.
system.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you need it all together. I mean, like I, broke down about a Shimano Calcutta Conquest because I'm like, I want to be able to have that kind of control. I want a reel that performs that way. I bought a high-end rod. I can't buy all high-end rods, but for swim baiting, I in particular did a specific type of rod. And so I think, take your time and do it right. And if you're frustrated, get help. Most guys will actually respond on Instagram. Yeah, you'd be surprised the people I've become friends with over the years that are on famous even, or big YouTubers or whatever, just by being a friend on Instagram, and just saying, hey, can you help me with this? Or do you need any help with anything? Fishermen typically will love to help a guy learn to fish, and so that's really important. And one other thing, if that's okay, that Kyle and I both mentioned is the pause. I call it the stall. If you're new to swim baiting, the stall is everything. Particularly if you're using for instance, if you're using a swimmer, a three-piece, that stall, a three-piece swimmer, you typically just reel them in. Yeah, you can get little tiny glides and stuff, but as a swimmer, the key to getting a good bite on a swimmer is that pause. You swim in a little bit and then drop it down and let it fall. And they think it's a dying fish and they'll hit it. Or, one of the things I'll do with a three-piece is I'll run at the top and let it smack a little bit on the top like it's dying, and then drop it and hit that pause. I crush so many bass on that pause in swim baiting, and particularly if you're new, you tend to think, oh, well, you got to reel it the whole time, and fish don't respond to that because they know it's not real. So, yeah.
Yeah, fish aren't always on the move. Fish
Right.
also will stop.
Well, the biggest fish are just waiting. Like we
Yeah.
said earlier, the biggest ones you're gonna find are just sitting in the same spot all day, waiting for you to throw something right in front of their face, and they'll kill
Yeah.
it. They don't want to eat it; they just want to kill it. The migrating fish, the ones that are moving, are the smaller fish, and it's kind of what are you going for?
Yeah. Yeah. And the one that, this is not a plug for them, but the one I love that does the stall about the best right now
G
is
flag.
this G flag. Particularly if you use that red band that goes around there, the tail won't move. And I've never seen a bait that matches what a bluegill looks like in the water when it's just kind of it's not moving anything hardly. It just kind of goes across real steady and even. That with that red band, I forget what it's called, but you wrap it around it and it kind of holds the tail a little tighter.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, and it literally is the best bait, soft plastic, I've ever used. Maybe one of the best baits, if not ever, because that if you reel it, you can get going a little bit, and then you just kind of, what I do is I'll slow reel it real slow, so I'm not moving that tail, and it'll literally just cruise at an even level, without moving any fins like bluegill do. And I'm telling you, I've caught so many bass that way on that stall. So yeah. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I just love talking fishing.
That's great.
So.
No, I think it's amazing. I think,
This is what we're here for, man.
This is what we're here for.
Okay.
I
I'm
mean,
a talker, so I never mind.
I think,
my wife's
John,
usually around to grab my
at
arm
the New
and
England
go.
Fishing Expo, you and I should not talk to each other until like the end of the day.
Yeah, because we'll be hanging out
If
the
we
whole
see each
time,
other
huh?
too early in the day, you and I will not go to our booth, and we will just talk. So I think we should just make a rule to wait till the end of
Yeah,
the day to
wait
talk to
until
each
after
other.
it's in the evening, grab some dinner or something.
But yeah, I think, of course, I guess you, Kyle, me, we are all adults that have disposable income that also
Sure.
love buying cool JDM gear, and it's one of
Hmm.
those things that I'm learning online is that yes, I was fortunate enough to live in Korea where a lot of this JDM stuff was cheaper, and
Yeah,
that's why I have so much of it because I brought it from Korea, and I
sure.
go home to see family all the time, and I always load up when I'm home.
Man,
But
you
I
should
think
sell on Whatnot, bro.
I know, right? I know, I definitely could. But I think, I guess, from your perspective, of course, people should buy your baits. But if
Oh yeah,
someone is looking into getting into glide baits,
sure,
getting into swim baits, are there any kind of, I think this question always comes up, are there any cheaper options
sure,
that are,
absolutely.
someone that's just getting into it, that may just,
Yeah,
has a heavy rod, may just, let's just try it, and just
sure.
looking for that first swim bait bite?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think when you start getting into swim baits, I wouldn't buy resin because you can lose them really easily. And you spend 250, $300 for a bait sometimes, you can't lose it. You know what I mean? You're going swimming. And so I think it's really important. I think a couple of really great ones, Bait Sanity makes a great bluegill glide.
I just got the, yeah,
Yeah, I've got some sitting here. The Explorer Gill Glide.
yeah, they were on
Um,
sale all, yeah, I got literally
yeah,
those, they were on sale. I think I
yeah.
got mine off Whatnot.
And they're great, a great starter. The KGB Chad Chads are awesome to start with. I think Buka, man, Mike is the OG. I mean, he's been around forever, and that Buka Shad that's out, the ABS version, works great. They don't have a ton of bluegill colors, so I took and painted some for myself in that glide. That's a great one to start out with. I'm trying to think what else I have here. Um,
Trick Shad's a great option.
yeah, Trick
You can see
Shads
them
are
everywhere.
awesome. Citizens are great. Any of the citizens are great. Starting because all you do is reel and pause. With the citizens, TK Tiny Clash, it's getting a little more pricey on the ABS side, but um, and actually, I'm great friends with Tyler Anderson from Tyler's Real Fishing, and he says the new Strike King one from I'll think of his name. Oh, it just came out with Strike King. The Hogfather Jr. Is it apparently it's great. And Tyler and I have been doing that series scaled up about swim baiting. And if you're
Oh,
new to
cool.
swim baiting, that's a great series to watch because he is brand new. Like he laughed at me when he came to my pond and I was throwing big baits and we talked more about it. Eventually we got him to the point where he did a series on learning to fish, big glides and big baits. And it's a great series because it kind of takes you on the journey from, hey, I haven't done this much to, hey, I'm learning how to do this. And now I start to throw glide baits off. And so that series is fantastic. I actually am in a few of them, believe it or
No,
not.
awesome.
It is just so weird for me because I'm just a good old boy from Indiana. So to be able to be in that kind of stuff is really cool and be a part of this community has been really great.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I think those are great starters. You can get some custom stuff nowadays in the $100, $150 range. Like there's a lot of in the $150 to $100 range, even in resin. If you go to a bait show, that you can get and do excellent with, and it'll be a bait that lasts you a lifetime. So, or at least more than a few seasons. So that's a great way to start as well.
And that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for Jon Jon. Thank you so much to Kyle for joining us here today. Again, Jon Jon, where can people find you?
Sure. Jon Jon's Outdoors on Instagram, jonjonsoutdoors.bigcartel.com for my shop, crawlers, and blue collar gills. And got a lot of cool stuff coming in 2026. And we will be at the Bassmaster Classic as well. So we're excited about that.
And Kyle?
Witchdoctor Tackle, you guys already know. You've heard us, you've seen us. And we'll be partnering with Jon Jon at the Bassmaster Classic and the Tennessee Fishing Expo. So anyone out in Tennessee, Knoxville area, keep an eye
See
out.
us.
Come look for our booth. Come say hello. All the good stuff.
And then come see me and Jon Jon in New England if you're up here at the end of the month. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching.